Woohoo! And we're live once again on a Friday, and we're doing a LinkedIn for Authors Masterclass. And I have my buddy in the house today, and it's so fun. I have Annette Richmond here coming in from the New York area, well, Connecticut actually, but anyways, the East Coast. So we got the East Coast, we got Texas, we got half of America covered. And we're hoping that you guys are joining us from anywhere in the world. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go and ask you to go ahead and tell us where you're coming from today. So this is our topic. We're going to be talking about lights, camera, author, video strategies for LinkedIn. And Annette, can you just like give a quick intro to who you are and what you do? And then we'll just get right stuck in.
Sure. Should I keep it to like 5 minutes, or should I go on to like the 15-minute presentation? So if you don't know me, I'm Annette Richmond. My company is Black Dog Marketing Strategies, named for our two dogs, Katie and Emma. And basically what I do is help people stop dreading video, get over themselves so they can build their visibility and business online.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. You're so succinct. I love that about you. So we are talking all things video for authors today, but spoiler alert, you don't have to be an author to come hang with us. So you're going to get lots and lots of great tips. We're here for an hour. We want this to be interactive. So if you have some burning questions, pop them in the chat and we will get to them. If we can, we will get to them. And if we can't, we'll answer them after the show. We'll just, we'll be sticking around for the next couple of weeks. It's like replay, whatever. If you have questions, we will try to get those answers for you. So with that being said, I'm just going to kick off and go into our first. I don't like to mess any time. So I want to jump right into our first sort of topic. And the topic is, why should authors use video on LinkedIn? Isn't this just where you come and post professional things, text posts? So Annette, tell us why we should.
So you know as well as I do that video is the fastest way to build the know, like, and trust factor. And you certainly do want to use video. But why LinkedIn? We were actually just talking about this before we went live, and I did a post recently, just the other day, on stats that came from the Wisewall 2026 State of Marketing Report. And for the social platforms used by marketers, LinkedIn came in at 70%. 70% use that right after YouTube, which is at 80%, 82%. And we all know that YouTube is like the king of video. And we also know, because we saw recently one of the VPs of product management, I think it was, talking about how LinkedIn is leaning into video. So they want you to have video. It's also was mentioned by marketers as being one of the most effective platforms for video. So that's, one thing, numbers are numbers, but, numbers do mean something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, videos build trust. It's like when we, it's like the know, the like, the trust. It builds all three. So it's like if people see you on video, they get to know you. And if they get to know you, hopefully they get to like you because you're being a likable person. Nobody's getting on video and being like that guy, we're trying to be
hopefully not.
hopefully not, and then of course comes the trust. And at the end of the day, it's like, as authors, we want to create visibility, and you can do things like do a video with your book sitting in the corner. All these little things, they're tiny little things that you can be doing, but it allows people to kind of, get to know you so that hopefully when they buy the book, they know you and your voice is coming through as they're reading the book. So, today, Annette's got a book on video, of course. And, somebody in the comments said, oh, I just got Annette's book, so it all goes together, that know, like, and trust. So that's always amazing, amazing. Okay. So Annette, let's just jump into what types of videos can authors create? So, this probably applies to everybody, but let's stay in the author lane for a second. And what do you recommend? What kind of videos should authors be creating?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. And one of them that I think about is you can have a video of you reading your book. You know, I can have my book open and I'm reading it. I can be unboxing my books when I'm getting them delivered from Amazon. And I'm thinking you could probably reseal them and reopen them again and again because those are always so popular. We were talking about this recently, the idea of having, your book sort of in the background and you doing an overlay of you, talking about your book or talk about different chapters of your book. And then, of course, there's the old thing if you don't want to be on camera, how about just your book? And then you can do a little voiceover over your cover. I mean, and you were telling me about this funny thing that somebody was doing with their book recently.
Yes, yes. So I'll give a shout out to Janine Combs, and I'll put a link into it in the comments. And she did one of the most brilliant videos ever when she was launching her book, and I think it was about a year ago, but I'm terrible with dates, so excuse me if I'm wrong. But what she did was she literally did this like sort of funny Zoom call where it was just her, and you just imagine she's on this Zoom call with somebody, and she's got her book, and she's just kind of like holding it and going, "Oh yeah, what's new with you?" And then she's just kind of like, I don't know. "Oh, isn't it hot in here?" And she was using it as a fan. And then the next thing you know, she's got like, eight, a big stack of books. She's leaning on it. And it's like, "Oh yes, my book. How did you know?" It was so funny. And that's what we should do, is have fun, because at the end of the day, she created brand awareness for her book, but she did it in a very Janine Combs kind of way, which was fun because she's always kind of been that marketer that, like, just tongue in cheek,
And here we are too, both of us. You mentioned we both have books. We both have our books behind us in our shots. So we always have them. And many of the authors that we both know, have them all, that, have books behind them. So, people will see it.
Yes, yes, yes. So unboxing videos, I've done one. I think I've done it more than one. And also too, I remember I did one with Tina Jarvitt when she got her book. And she just was just like, "Would you just get on a Zoom call with me?" And we just did a Zoom call where she opened the book and then I was there. And then it was like a little party. It was just like we just filmed the Zoom call. So, those are times when you don't have to be alone. You can grab a friend.
Yes, yes, and talk about the idea of that makes me think, remember the book launches. You do, we've done them for each other. You do them for all of the authors that you work with when they launch their books, and that's another way to, get your book out there because, video can be there forever.
Exactly, exactly. And I actually did a live unboxing once because I just went, "Why not?" I got, I'm paying for StreamYard. I might as well use it. And I thought, well, I don't want all the hassle of making the recorded video. I'll just go live. And then I just opened it up and, there you go. So, there's just so many different things that you can do. Make it fun, make it interesting. And unboxing videos, to me, they get the highest number of engagements. Like I think
Yeah.
people just love
And I
those.
think it's because it's so real. And one of the things that, I talk about, and I'm sure you talk about as well, the idea that, when you're documenting yourself, you're doing sort of double duty. If you're recording yourself while you're doing something, you're killing the two birds with one stone, although I hate to think about killing anything, but
How about
I
how
guess
about videoing two birds with one camera or
yeah, that's
something? We'll make it a happy thing. We'll make it a happy thing. And Annette, one of the things that I love about you is you always bring in your girls, your two dogs. And that's another thing where it's like, you could do the unboxing with your dog looking in, and it's like the dog, you could say, like anybody who has a pet, when Amazon comes to the door, they don't need to knock because your dog announces that there's somebody at the door. So it's like film the whole thing. You don't have to wait till you just have the package at your desk. It's like go to the door, hear the dog barking. "Oh, I wonder what it is." You bring it in.
Yes, yes, yes. I did one too where I did I videoed the book on the stoop and then me picking the book up and bringing it in the house. And there's so many things to do. And anybody who has a pet who leans into their pets knows that my dogs get way more engagement than I do. And a shout out to our mutual friend Brenda Meller, who is always, doing videos with Pepper. I told her that she really needs to be, paying Pepper because she just uses her so much in her videos.
I love it. I love it. And then, the other thing too is you can use videos that other people create. And I've had people who have like made videos, which is like, that is like the kindest thing ever you could do for somebody. If they have a book, make a video about their book. And I remember, I'm going to shout out Mindy Stern. She actually like did a video at the airport. And she said, I'm getting on a plane. I'm at the airport, but I just wanted to say I have Jillian's new book with me and I'm going to be taking it on the plane and reading it. And it was just like that was amazing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
leverage if other people make videos and montages. Lots of people do like, when you do your book, like people will like do a little selfie. You could put those together and make like a whole little video montage out of like all those. G is one she did that and it's killer and it's got music and like just all these people holding up her book. That builds a lot of trust because now all of a sudden you're going, well, it's not just G talking about her book. Other people are not only talking about it, but they're buying it. So those are good too. All right. Okay. So any more on that before I click on to the next thing?
No, the one thing that I will add that I learned from you and others is when people do read your book and they tell you they got your book, they liked your book, ask them for an Amazon review because that's another
yes.
kind thing you can do for your author friends is give them a review on Amazon.
Absolutely. And why not do a video on that too? You could say, hey, I was just going through my Amazon book page today, and I saw that Annette Richmond dropped in this awesome video, this awesome review. And then boom, you could read it out loud. And hey, here's one I did once with Kevin D. Turner. He did a video review. So we're talking about videos, right? He did a video review on Amazon. And so I went ahead and created a video about the video and I posted that on LinkedIn. So it was just kind of like, I was like, wow, Kevin did a video review for me. So it was just amazing. So again, you want to do video, go put that video up on Amazon as well. So that's kind of cool. I'll have to go talk to Mindy Stern, see if she'll go put that video on.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Mindy's a sweetheart.
She is a sweetheart. She is a sweetheart. Okay. So I want to talk about, and after this topic, we're going to hop over and we'll grab some questions and see how everybody's doing with us.
Okay.
So what format and length works best for video, Annette, on LinkedIn?
So I would say today, there's no question that vertical portrait is the best for every platform. I mean, it started being more popular on LinkedIn when they introduced the video tab. I think it was a couple of years ago, but definitely vertical video is what people want to see. As for length, I'll tell you, I go for 90 seconds or less.
Okay.
And a variety, we've talked about using clips, get a variety of clips, 30 seconds, 90 seconds in that range, and creating long form videos talking and then creating clips from those two. Again, save yourself some time.
Definitely. And it's always kind of been my thing, one idea, one video, and that helps you make your videos shorter. So it's like if you have a video and you say, okay, I'm going to talk about like 7 reasons why, you should hire a chiropractor or something like that, or 7 reasons you should buy my book. Let's go back to authors. 7 reasons you should buy my book. Well, a 10-minute video would be like, nobody is going to sit through a 10-minute video. But if you took those 7 reasons and you made 7 little videos, then, record it as one and chop it up, right?
And I also have a suggestion. You could do your book, an image of your book or something else, add a little music, and you could do an overlay of text with the 7 reasons to buy your book. So that is a way to kind of, mix that up and have them coming on 1, 2, 3. And that way it's interest and, for people who don't want to be on camera.
There we go. And it's I also like those videos, Annette, where it's like the person goes like point and then the things fly in,
Uh-huh.
so that's just like you just record yourself doing this thing,
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the easiest things to have and it's all in the planning, recording it and pointing wherever and then adding the text later. So, it's one of the easy peasy video tricks to do.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and then there might be some exceptions to the format because you're saying vertical definitely for the feed. If you're talking about videos that are going in the general, feed
Mhm,
post
mhm.
as a video post, but there might be exceptions if we're talking about different areas of LinkedIn, but we'll talk about those later. Talk about
Okay.
those later. So for now, what I want to do is hop over and just see who all has joined us today. So we have Jeff. He's in the front row. So here he is on YouTube, and I love it. I love it. I always love that Jeff comes and that Jeff tells me it's working on YouTube. So it's like it's good because you want to have that backup because YouTube is the platform for video. But now we see LinkedIn's pretty close behind. So Jeff says he's coming in from sunny and snow-free for a change state of Ohio. So that's good. It's cloudy in Texas. What's it like with you today, Annette?
Well, it's actually, I'm looking at my watch, it's a balmy 38 degrees. We still have
Wow.
snow on the ground from a couple of weeks ago, but I say balmy because it's been like in the single digits. Get up in the morning, it's 3 degrees. So 38,
Oh,
we'll love that.
I think I'll stay in Texas. Okay, so we have Dave Spence coming in from the DC area in Virginia. Hi, welcome. We're glad you're here. Jeff says, what's your favorite type of video to include in the featured section on LinkedIn? That's a good question, Annette. Do you have a preference?
So, it can be for so many things. We all were pushing doing a, who I am video back in the day. It seems like forever ago. It was only a few years ago when LinkedIn used to have the profile videos, and those were, and then they discontinued that. We were saying, well, put those videos in the featured section. So I think it could be great as an introduce yourself video in the featured section. Um, I don't know because I don't believe videos play in the featured section. To my knowledge, they don't play there, so you would still have to click on them. That's my understanding anyway. If somebody else can correct me if I'm
But
if
you
I'm
can have a
wrong.
video. Well, you can have a video post.
Oh
So you
yeah,
could feature a video
put a
post.
thumbnail. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could also I think you can have a link, and so I
Yes.
think in my featured section, it kind of pops out to Vimeo, and that's more strategic than popping out to YouTube. So it's like I like to and I think I have a "Why did I write this book?" video in my featured section because I always think if like maybe podcasters are trying to like learn a little bit about me, that's a really quick way, it's like 90 seconds you can learn, well, why did I write the most recent book that I'm like, hoping to be on their podcast for or something like that. So anyways, that's good. That's good. Thanks, Jeff. Sajid says, hello, everyone. And he is Stella's friend, Stella De Silva's friend. Um,
Oh,
Kiza says hello, LinkedIn user. So we never know who you are, but we'll see later in the comments who you are because your settings. But welcome, we're glad you're here. Jeff is saying hi to everybody. Oh, Oman, that's where he's coming from. So that's
oh
awesome.
yes, Stella. Love Stella De Silva. She's one of
We
my best
do.
buddies.
We do. And Linda Brubaker's here. Have another appointment, so I'll
Hey,
catch the
Linda.
replay of what sounds like a great conversation. It is. And we're glad that you popped in and we know you'll be back. So thank you, Linda. And then Patricia is here. Patricia Smith. I am a voice talent. Happy to share that. Now we want faces too. Arg. So we're going to talk about arg. So we'll talk about ways to get around that. And so Jeff says, one of my favorite things to display is somebody else's video review of my book. That's golden. And, I know like Rebecca Wilson, she did a fabulous, business book bites she does. And she did a review of my book, but that's fabulous. If somebody ever does a video review of your book, if they, just sent it to you or they post it on LinkedIn, because I think having somebody else talk about you as opposed to you talking about you always does so much more,
For
right?
sure, for sure. And I love the idea, and something just popped into my mind. The idea we were talking about doing the different reviews, to pop those even into a CapCut template with photos and just
Mm.
have it. It's already done for you.
Yes,
So
yes,
many
easy.
ways.
Easy peasy. Easy peasy is the name of the game. Okay, so let's go back and we're going to talk about what if you hate being on camera, because somebody just cued us on that with the arg, and it's true, So it's like, that's not, if that's you, you are not alone. So I just want to let everybody know there's a lot of people, and there are people that'll just say, "Oh, get over yourself, just do it." And you know what? We have to do what's right for us. And so baby steps with video, just know that for the most part, people are really not judging you and that sort of thing. But if you do the baby steps, so Annette, what are some of those things for people who
So
hate being
so
on video?
I recommend doing, this little bokeh system I have, Banish on Camera Anxiety, where you record 14 videos, one each day, and don't look at them until day 15. And but the thing is that, we have both worked with people who hated being on video. Look, I hate to have my picture taken. There are no photos of
Yeah.
me in our house because I hate to have my picture taken. But I've done video so much that I just don't see myself anymore. Um, but the thing with that is a lot of it is just muscle memory.
Mhm.
You cannot, I can't wave a magic wand. You can't pay me money and I wave a wand and then you feel comfortable on video. It's all about doing the work, just like anything to do it. I talk about, and I have shared my old videos, and they are pretty bad. If your first videos are going to be bad, but you know what? You get better like anything else. The Olympics is on right now. Those people that are, figure skating stars, they didn't just hop on the ice and start twirling. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of falls. And I think people have to get over it. And I love what you said about people get nervous about being judged. I
Mhm.
get that. But, you have to think about it. When you're watching a video, are you looking at the video and going, "Man, that guy could lose 10 pounds," or, "Oh my gosh, that woman, I was kinda old to be doing video." I mean, it's just, it's just you're not doing it. People, if you're thinking about it, people aren't doing it to you. If people are so busy thinking about themselves, they're not thinking about you.
Exactly, exactly. They're not, you think they're thinking about you, and they're not. They don't even see you. They're listening with their antenna on
Mhm.
for what's in this for me.
Yep.
That's how we watch your video. It's like, okay, what nugget of wisdom are you going to give me? And if you give me something that entertains me, educates me, inspires me, I'm not sitting there figuring out if you got too many wrinkles on your face because I could care less. I could
And
care
there's always
less.
filters too.
That's
So
right. You can make yourself look pretty. Can't do that on a live. You are what you are on a live, but with video, you can do some pretty amazing stuff these days. So, yes, yes. So, we both are very strong people of, if you hate being on camera, you don't have to be, but
yeah, well, we did talk about that. Doing an image with an overlay. You can do an overlay. You can do stuff with a voiceover. And one of the things that I just want to throw out there is the idea that when people talk about they hate being on video, I think a lot of it is they hate talking on video. They're afraid they're going to mess up or
mm,
whatever. So you
mm,
can just record yourself reading, as you say, reading your book,
yep.
working at your desk, and then add voiceovers. And, that's kind of a nice way to ease into it too.
I love it. I love it. So on this same little template that I have, or topic thing, banner I have, I also
Okay.
talk about AI and B-roll, because those are two things that can really help you. You can just use those, period. You don't, like, I love using AI videos. I just think they're amazing. And I thank Annette, because Annette was the one that introduced me to Sora, and it's spelled Sora. I absolutely love it, because it's like you just type in a prompt of, okay, I want a video with like a little dachshund, and he's got a cowboy hat on, and he's herding cats. And then it made it for me. And then I was able to take that and then I added like a little end, and it was like I used it as like to promote my business, and it was just the cutest little video. So Annette, tell us more about AI video.
So, I mean, I think of as Sora too, and I love it too. I've been sharing a lot of videos of our girls competing in the Olympics. Katie won a medal, yeah, figure skating, and Emma was curling, and but you can do a lot of, and those are fun. And one of the reasons that I think we both like video is the fact that it can be fun. But I've done things on there talking about my business where somebody's looking at the camera and going, oh, I should have worked with Annette Richmond, because, and you just put the prompts in. But there's also things like, CapCut templates are kind of AI video.
Mhm.
Canva, if you're nervous, Canva has a lot of videos. You can create videos using AI on Canva if you have a pro account there. There's so many things, and I think people worry about it. If you share something from Sora, because we both use Sora,
Right.
um, it, it has a watermark on it. And
So
it
what?
says that it's Sora. If you post a video to LinkedIn with an AI video, LinkedIn will tag it with their little, I think it's a CR
CR? Yeah.
CR on there. So, you know, um, and they're okay with AI video, not
Yep.
AI commenting, but on writing and whatever, but AI video. And it is a way to have fun. And as you mentioned, it's a way to just create things
Mhm.
without being on camera. And you've told me that the little dachshund videos have done really well for your business.
Yeah, they're fun, and I had somebody who wrote to me once, and they said, "Your videos just make me smile." Like, because of what's cuter than a dachshund? And it's just like, "Okay, yes, I know
And
what's cuter than a dachshund."
and
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I was just gonna say that, like, with Sora, you can upload a photo. So if you're an author, you could upload a photo of your book, and, like a lot of us, a lot of authors do these kind of like 3D, mock-ups of our books, and, or or you turn it into a Kindle book or something like that. But anyways, you can take the 3D version, and then you could say, "Okay, I wanna have a dachshund buying this book in the bookstore," and there's your real book and the dachshund, in the bookstore. So it's, kind of doing stuff. Now, a lot of times AI is goofy, and you're just like, it'll put a different author on your cover. It'll do goofy things. So sometimes you'll have to keep telling it to like that. How do you do that, Annette? Because that's the longest thing, is like it doesn't always, you got a third
Well,
arm.
it's like anything else. You gotta play, right? You just gotta play with it. And I think, I know there are other things. I mean, even we're talking about videos, for authors and using AI. And one of the things that we both use is we use Opus Clip. I hope it's
Yes.
okay to mention that
Yes,
now.
yes,
That's
yes.
something, it's AI. We take our long form videos, we throw it in there, and it's AI, and it creates clips for us. So
Mm.
I think people think like AI is just somehow,
Fake
fraudulent or
fake fake
something and
fake
fake and,
videos.
and the thing is, but it's labeled that way. And I think it depends on how you use it. And if you use it in a way that you're comfortable with, I think it's fine. And again, I also think it's so much fun.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, writing a
And
text is just not that fun.
no, no, and another really good thing about Opus Clips is when you, well, 2 things. Number 1, when you upload, like, say you had, like, say you did a podcast or a live or something like that, and it can chop your video up into small ones, and you can
Mhm.
say, "I want 10-second videos, 30," like, you can, give it parameters. But the nice thing is it kinda gives you a virality score. So
Yes.
you begin to know, hey, this is probably the most engaging one I want to go with. And so that kind of gives you some insight. But also too, you can use AI generated images in their editing, and you could say, and you just tell it, Opus Clips, yes, I'd like some, images put in, and they kind of, it's like B-roll, and it goes on top of the video. So you still hear yourself talking, but then all of a sudden there's a different image. And Annette, talk about that, because sometimes just seeing somebody talk, it's
Yeah.
it's
You
not
know, and
engaging.
and to be honest, I haven't used Opus Clip that way myself, but I do that. Done it in CapCut where
Mm,
I am having videos come in, or again, I am having an overlay of me talking about something and it's behind me. So if you're
mm,
talking about reviews, you might screen share your Amazon and scroll through your testimonials and then
mm,
be talking about, I'm so glad that my book on, raising chickens is helping people so much, or, whatever it is. There's just so many things you can do because it is true. I think, the talking head, and that's why you do things like point and have text pop on and simple things like that. But I love the idea. I have to try that Opus Clip. You were telling me about that the other day, and I have to try that with the B-roll. But yes, I do like the way they rate it. It's on engagement, trends. There's like 4 things, and I'm not sure, but they rank them for 4 different areas and give them numbers
cool.
in order so that you can easily say, yes, okay, these are the 5 that are likely going to do the best on social.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, for anybody who has ever had long form video and manually gone and cut it up, it is such a time suck.
Never,
You'll be there
never.
forever. You'll be there forever. So having somebody do it for you, and then you can tweak and adjust it. And you can say, oh, they missed a word, at the beginning. They started too soon, and you can just slide it back out. So that's a good thing. And that you just mentioned B-roll. So there's a lot of people that might be saying, what's B-roll? Can you explain what that is and how to make B-roll? So tell us
So
about that.
so B-roll is basically you documenting your life. So I have created B-roll footage when I was shopping at Staples, buying supplies for a boot camp I was doing. And so I use that video with text over it, talking about that. I record a lot of video in my car. I know some people, but I'm very careful. I buy tripods that are made for that. So I'm not holding the camera
Mm,
up or anything like that. I'm very careful, safety conscious. You can have your camera sitting next to you. I record myself while I'm recording my podcast. So I'm
mm,
on my desktop recording my podcast, but it's all just documenting your life. And I will just share one thing because it's just been so popular. Over the summer, I was sick and it was raining out. The weather was bad. I'm laying on the sofa and I see my husband who likes meat. He's a meat guy. And I see him going outside with a steak on a plate and an umbrella. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I grab my phone and I go to the door of the sliding door on the deck and I look out and there he is standing at the grill holding the umbrella. There's Katie supervising, and I took that video and I turned it into Mission Grill Possible, Man's Got a Grill or something like that. And grabbed some Mission Impossible music that was just breaking in the theaters over the summer. I got more than 9,000 views on YouTube for that video, and people love it. People love it. And, again, what did it take? Nothing. And it's just a matter of collecting this stuff. Your dog's sleeping, your dog's playing. I mean, just so many things,
mm.
anything and everything. And, doesn't have to be you.
I love that.
And then
And
just organize it and use it in the future, and just think about, this is interesting. I don't need to use it today, but I'm gonna have it on my camera and I'm gonna use it in the future.
wow. So how do you keep that organized? Like, do you have like like that's the hard part, right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
like
the
you
hard
have all
part.
this
Yeah,
stuff. You have all this
I
stuff.
am not the best with organization, I will say. I have, a list from ChatGPT telling me how to organize the folders on my desktop, which is enough, but I try to put them in folders, on my camera, dogs, me, like, shopping or whatever type things, because 'cause I'll take videos if I'm walking around Wegmans, put the camera in my shopping cart and, just
Right.
record. So, it is good to organize. You have to have your own system. And again, I'm one of those people that like I say, yes, do it, do it, do it. And I am guilty of not doing enough myself.
Well, and
How about
and
you?
I have no organization at all
Okay,
for B-roll.
I feel
And,
better.
and I never think about it, and I should think about it. And, and the beauty with making B-roll is that you don't have to worry about sound. Like, I'll get somewhere and I'll say, well, I can't do a video here because I didn't bring my microphone and it's going to sound stupid and tinny. And, what you're not going to hear it because it's so windy and I'm at the beach
Yeah.
trying to make a video without a microphone. Forget about it. But why couldn't I just take a couple of, like 30 seconds of the beach, right? And the waves coming in and out and everything. And then maybe flip the camera and now 30 seconds of me, waving in front of the, with the beach behind me and this and that. And then just save it. And then I could be talking later about, hey, I'm moving to the beach. And it's like, I'm
Oh,
so excited. I got that footage.
yes, and even, can even take it a step further, you can and this is not complicated. You can take your phone and put it down on the bench and have you walking towards the beach, and just
Mm.
placing your phone in different there are some people, one guy I'm thinking of on TikTok, I can't remember his name, who does a lot of those things, and it's just a matter of putting your phone in different places and having it record, and
Like in the
again
fridge, like
yes,
or
I've
in
done
the
that too. I
cupboard.
put the phone in the fridge and I'm opening the door and then, I turn it and then I create, me in an overlay in the fridge yelling at
Yeah,
me opening the door. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do to have fun with it. So you could do that, with your book. I
I
mean,
love that.
you could have somebody yelling at you about the book.
I just had an amazing idea, and I gotta just do it live because I'm
Okay.
thinking this would be good, and I want to remember this or else I'm gonna forget, is what about making a video about the day in the life of your book? And it's like it arrives from Amazon. So it's in the it's in the package, and it's like, so, it doesn't see anything, and then it's being jumbled, and then it's like dropped in front of the house, and then it's getting picked up, so it's still in the box, and then it's opened up, but it's now the book looking up at the person, like, oh, I've come to live with this lady.
Yes, with a voiceover, and, put it on there and change the voice a little bit. I mean, you can do that, in your editing apps, change the voice
Yes.
where the book's going,
and
"Oh
and
my
the and the
gosh,
bo-
here
and
I
the
am, where am I?"
Yes, where am I? And then at the end, the book is like, on the live or in the video, and it's like, I'm a star. And it's all from the perspective of the book. I think that would be awesome. I love
I do
that.
too. I love it.
I'll have to make that a challenge or something like that. Jillian just comes up with these great ideas going live. So let me hop back to our questions and we'll see if we got some more questions coming in. So let's just see. Oh my goodness. I get out of step here because they kind of keep moving. So let's see. Okay, I think oh, this is a bit long one. I
Okay.
was always scared of creating self videos. So I think he just means like solos,
Mhm.
selfies. However, as a New Year's resolution for 2026, I promised myself that I will start creating videos. I have realized I can't be perfect from day one. So true. Now I am trying to post once every week and trying to improve each week. I really like the idea of reading a section from the book, why I wrote the book, and having your pet with you while creating it. Thanks for the ideas. That is brilliant. What do you think about that,
Oh, I
Annette?
love it. I love it. And, and it will get easier. The first video is the hardest. I've had people that I work with tell me that. The first one is the hardest. The second one is not as hard, and they get easier and easier and easier. Just don't make those videos too long. That's all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just keep them to
Keep
like, 90 seconds or less.
keep them short. Keep them short. So Jeff says you wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you
Yep.
if you realized how seldom they
Yep.
do.
That's one of my
Eleanor
favorite
Roosevelt.
quotes. I was thinking of it while I was talking and I couldn't remember the words exactly. So thank you, Jeff.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I love that. And so Jeff says, "A day in the life of your book." I love it. I love it. I think we should make a challenge. Just a day in the life of your book challenge. I just think that would be so
You
good.
should challenge the authors that you work with, and I know there are many, to do that with their books.
I just think that would be so good. I'm very, very excited about that. Okay. So we talked about the AI and the B-roll. So now where should you post your videos? So we talked about, of course, as a video post to the feed. That's like number one. But
Mhm.
there's other places on LinkedIn that you should be posting video. So what are some of your favorite places, Annette?
So, there is something obviously to be said. You can put a link to a video in your featured section. And I just want to mention, like, for LinkedIn, there's kind of a feeling that LinkedIn prefers native video, but people that are trying to build their YouTube channel might want
Mhm.
to switch it up back and forth to get people to go to their YouTube channel. So that is something, to do that. As for videos, I will say that I am, YouTube, I'm working on myself, but also Substack. I am
Mhm.
fairly new to Substack, but Substack is really a multimedia platform where kind of everything goes. Although they like video too, and video is an eye catcher when you're seeing text after text after text.
Yep.
So I do post a lot of videos on Substack, but you can go live there, as you can go live on LinkedIn and live on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram as well. I mean, you can go live on all of them. Um, there's certain restrictions for some, like the Substack, you have to have, I think, 10 subscribers. With TikTok, you have to have 1,000 followers or something. But for the most part, you can really, do live. And one thing that I love about you, Jillian, and I know that you have done this before, and actually Brenda Meller does this too, is if you're doing something, you do it live, and that way you're teaching and learning with
Mm.
your audience, and it saves time because you're not having to create the video like you talked about the unboxing, doing it live, because then there it is, and you have the video, you can download it, you can reuse it, and so, that's something to think about too.
Absolutely. And I like with think of your profile that you could be adding video, you can add media into your experiences sections. And
Yes.
so one of
Mm.
the things I like to do is I think authors should have separate experiences for being an author. Don't let it just be buried in your business, right? Like
Yes.
that's the thing.
Yes, and also the idea that with it, and I forget exactly what the feature is, but you can set when somebody comes to your profile, you can set what they see. So you can
Mm,
just set it so, like mine, I show all videos. Some people show
right.
all their newsletters, and you can do different things like that and alternate them. So, I just, you know, you talked about this the first thing when we went online, and the whole idea of the know, like, and trust factor to get people to want to work with us. If we're service providers, we're coaches, trainers, whatever, we want people to work with. But it's also that thing to make people want to buy your book, want to
Mm,
engage with you more, as you were talking about. So I just want to throw this over to you about the idea of the audio books,
ah,
or audio I guess it's audio of your own book, doing that.
right. Well, that's something I haven't done yet, and I actually just did a podcast episode about it this week, and I have now set a goal that I'm going to do that by the end of the year because I think it's amazing. So, audio 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 you could do so much with that in terms of, having pictures of yourself recording the audio book. So, for anybody raising my hand who is thinking about an audio book, document the whole process
Yes.
because later you're going to want to have that video footage and images.
And you did that as well, right? When you co-wrote that book with Tina.
Yep, we documented everything, and then we use those posts and snippets, and, you can have meetings, so it's like, sometimes it can just be like you said, your real life world. So, say for instance, you did a Zoom with your editor and your editor was, giving you some like really good feedback of like, this is going to be really good about your book, that your book does da 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 da. It's like, well, if you've recorded that Zoom, ask their permission and say, can I post that little snippet where we were talking about this? Because that helps the editor and it would help you and creates goodwill. And we love kind of being the fly on the wall,
Yes,
right?
yes, seeing how good the chocolate is made, right? That's the phrase that you like, seeing how yes, people love that, behind the scenes videos,
Yes.
which could be you writing your book. I mean, there's just,
Yes.
there's so many things to think about, and I think, like you, I forget, I think if something's gone, but I write things down on Post-it notes. I always have them near me when I'm watching TV, in my bag, and I jot down ideas on Post-it notes, and that's how I remember, and I keep them like on a whiteboard and organized. So, um, but yeah, the documenting, and
This
it,
is
it
great.
it's you, and it's sometimes easier. I know we both know people when people are nervous about being on camera. If they're on a live show with somebody, they're talking and they're engaging and they're
Yeah.
so wonderful, and then they sit down to record a video, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm going to talk to you about video." But if you can get, first of all, live is a nice way to move into it, being a guest on somebody else's show, talking about your book, you know, or a lot of podcasts now or videos, people record them in video, talking about your book. And then that will help you get used to being on video because it's easier when you're on with somebody else, I think.
Yes. And you just reminded me of something. If you've been on somebody's podcast, especially if it's a video podcast, that is a media link you probably want to put on your profile. Because again, there's your whole interview that people could go and watch. So that's good. And then, of course, the other thing that I love is newsletters and putting video in your newsletter. And that's where I prefer the landscape videos in
Yes.
newsletters
Yes.
because it's a better experience. And
Mhm.
you can put a vertical video and you can put a square video, you can upload it natively or embed from YouTube or Vimeo. There's a lot of things you can do, but my preference is I like the landscape videos.
Yeah, and I will throw out there you could do that on Substack too. On
Mhm.
Substack posts, which are like their version of the newsletter. So, and it's nice to break it up too. If you are
Yes.
having text, 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 you want to have something in there. So why
Yes.
not, an image? Why not a video?
Yes, yes. And then probably the last place that you could post videos is you could actually post a video in a DM. So, you could I would use that more for relationship building. Like it would to me it would be really spammy to say, "Hey, I wrote a book. Would you like to go buy it?" And then I send it out to like 50 people. Like I would just like disconnect,
Yes,
disconnect. This,
yes, yes.
you don't want to do stuff like that. But that's maybe like here's a good thing. Say for instance you wanted
Mhm.
to have advanced readers for your book, you could send a video to some people and just make a video message and say, hey, I'm asking everybody, this is my new book coming out, I'm asking people if you'd be interested in getting a copy, here's what my book's about. And then if you sent that, that's like a relationship building and it's just a gentle ask.
Yes, and the last thing, because we've been, talking about podcasts a little bit, it's a great way to have people invite you on their shows to talk about your book, to come on somebody's live show or a podcast. If you have a video of you talking, so that they know that when you come on their show, you're not going to be one of those, yes, no,
Right? You want to be that animated guest that
little
people
something, a
like.
little life there.
Okay. So there are lots and lots of places and in groups and and you can also post videos on your company page. So there's a lot of places that you can do videos. So, Annette, this is really, really your specialty. How do you make your videos pop?
So to make the videos pop, I would say that you have to have more than you just talking.
Mm.
We were talking about this right before we went live, where I do a technique where I have text and I walk under the text and start talking about something. So I might have the title of my like video marketing, and then I'm walking under it and start talking about it. As you mentioned, you can point and have, in my book, I talk about video marketing and video, something else. And so you can do that. There's so many things. You can add the images, of your book. You can be you in a corner talking about with the image of your book behind you. People think of the idea, and that we both know, we both aware. People think of video where I'm looking at my screen and I'm recording on Zoom or Camtasia or something like that, and I'm like down in the corner. But you can do that on your phone with just
Mm.
an overlay where, you have that behind you and then you're down in the corner talking about it.
Mm.
So there is, there's so many ways to break it up. But yes, I would say if you're just talking on the video, I would say you should keep it to like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Be
So
I
if
mean,
you're
what do
strictly
you
a
think? I
talking
mean,
head.
just like, unless you're, I don't know, maybe dancing while you're doing it or something. I just think it's, you can, like, if you want to talk, you can come in from the side, and then you can change the angle of where you're coming from. You could go from room to room and do one line at a time or something. I mean, they're, changing things up a
What
little
about
bit.
zooming? Is it like where all of a sudden
You could
is
do
that
that.
kind of going out of
Yeah,
style?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of things moving back and forth. I have a little vertigo I get sometimes, so I just kind of, that's not for me. But, having text pop on screen,
Mhm.
there's so many things that we both use CapCut. It's
Yep.
so easy to go in there and play around. Even with the free version, you can do so much,
Right. So
almost everything.
what about captions? Because it's like LinkedIn is good now. LinkedIn will put
Mhm.
closed captions and you can edit those. And so you can have that if you don't want to use any fancy tools. But if you step it up and you have captions that maybe are branded colors or, pop across the screen, what are your thoughts on the
Well,
captions?
I'm with you, Jillian. I know you're, what is that called? Hard code them in, or hard, whatever it's called. I always do that, always.
Open captions. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I always do that because, it's nice to have something little color. You can change the color, you can have things, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I do appreciate that LinkedIn now, will add captions. I know there's, having to make things more accessible, to
Yes.
everyone, because there's so many more people that are either, deaf or hard of hearing or something, or, as we know, people are watching videos with the sound down because they're in their office supposedly working and looking down at their phone. So there is that. But I'm a hard code them in there. That's me.
Yeah.
I
Do you like captions that do stuff like kind of go across the screen or, some people don't like that.
well,
But
I I don't
I
I
do.
don't I don't like captions like that. I like text that will come in and
Okay.
go out. I
Okay.
like that, where, as we were talking about having the text pop on the screen if you're talking about something, or if you have something rolling behind you, you
Right.
might have words coming on as you're to highlight what you're saying.
Right, right, right. Okay, and what are your thoughts on thumbnails? Because
So
if you're gonna display your videos if you don't add a thumbnail, who knows what that first image is gonna be, right?
yes, so here's the thing that's so, timely. I was just in a little Vicky O'Neill, who we both know,
Mhm.
her thing is like YouTube, that's her thing, and I just did a little she had a masterclass she was running, for free, and I attended it, and she was saying that you need to have, like, 3 words on your thumbnail.
Thumbnail?
And
Hmm.
that you should not include, as I used to do all of mine the same, like my podcast with me and the podcast number, but I have switched that up. But, to have, if you want to have yourself on there, to have just a few words, because as she said, as I never thought about, duh, is as people are scrolling and you wanna
Mm,
get them to, if you have something on there, that at least you wanna make sure that you have something short that's gonna be legible. and not
Right.
something with detail where people are going to have to try to struggle. I mean, people that are on LinkedIn might think about it like your LinkedIn banner. You don't want to have all kinds of small type or something that
Right.
you're showing in your featured section, a thumbnail there. You don't want to have so much on there in small type that if people, people have to struggle to see it, because so many more
Exactly.
people today too, they're on their phone.
Mhm.
So, that's something that I just learned, and I'm going to start working on that myself.
Mhm. And I think thumbnails are important, and, I just like even for this live today, that's why I made the intro our thumbnail. So it's like you got to be strategic, because that's what's now later. If somebody goes to my profile on LinkedIn and they click on events, if I didn't do that and I just use the default StreamYard, where it's like you just see the countdown and the dock and, all that sort of stuff, every single one of my lives would have looked the same. So it's
Mhm.
like I do that to make each one of my events. So you always have to kind of think strategically, how is somebody going to see this later? And, take a tip from YouTube. They use thumbnails for a reason. So that's
Yep.
really important. So I'm going to try and sneak in this last bonus question, because I think we have time for it, because I just want to get your take on this. Repurposing videos from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, yay or nay? Because it's like, do people have to reinvent the wheel if you're already on those other platforms?
Absolutely yay from me. First of all, nobody's seeing everything that you post, even on one platform or another. Nobody's seeing the same thing. I use the same videos across all platforms because, again, nobody's seeing one to another. So I don't get the idea of creating differently. One thing I will throw out there is a technique that I share with clients that I work with, and I learned from my video coach, is the idea of, if you're recording a video, that you record 3 different hooks. So my first
Hmm.
one, if my first video, if I'm talking about, something I might say, I have 3 ways to shortcut your video creation. And the next one might be, save time with these 3 ideas or something like that. And then you have the video and you just have a different hook. So you can have, and
Mm.
then you can go into your regular video, but you can just record these 3 different beginnings, and that way, you can kinda, if you're worried about people seeing it, you kinda break it up that way.
Wow, that's kind of a ninja hack. I
I
like
know,
that.
I know.
I
Well,
like that.
I learned, I have a video coach. I learned that, most of what I know from her. So,
I love that. I love that. And so if I was, so I'm
mm,
not on TikTok. I am on YouTube.
mhm.
But I'm not on Instagram. So I know a lot of people are, especially authors, once once they basically, especially if they've written a business book, they're on Instagram, they've written this business book and they're like, I think it's time to move over to LinkedIn, and they've got all this video content. So like Instagram, is that like a square video? Like what kind of, like what's a reel? Is a reel
They're
still
all, yeah, vertical
okay?
everywhere today.
So you
And
don't need to change it up. Bring it
no, no,
just
no.
as is.
And one thing that you and I actually were talking about the other day, the idea that if you have a landscape video like this, you can go into CapCut and use the aspect ratio to make it smaller. So,
Right.
you can do that, or create clips. You put a
Right.
video like this on Opus Clip, the clips are all, you set how you want the format to be. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And the trick would be, like you don't want to take this whole video of Annette and I and shrink it small, because then there's all this space at the top and the bottom. So what you'd be better off is just kind of I'll take a segment where Annette's talking, and then, focus on her and make that clip just Annette talking. If you want to get real fancy, you can have it jump back and forth, but that takes a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
you
editing.
can, or even the up and down works.
Yes, yes, I do that a
Up
lot.
and down is okay, but yeah, no, you don't wanna, this type of video, the landscape video like this, I mean, other than YouTube and perhaps on LinkedIn, I just wouldn't think you wanna be using that, anywhere else.
Right, right. Because it has a look. It has a certain look. So the up and down is much better. So I'll have to even think about that too on YouTube. So on YouTube, which way is going better for video? It's like I know the shorts are vertical, but is still the 16:9 the landscape doing good for regular videos?
My understanding based on, what I actually just heard Vicky talking about the other day is that that you can have the landscape, that they need to be like the 8 minutes if you want to monetize them in the
Right.
future, but they should be as long as you want them to be. And that there are different categories. If you're thinking ahead of monetizing your
Okay.
YouTube channel, that there's one sort of category. I don't know much about it, but very high level, one category for landscape, longer form videos, and one category for shorts.
Wow. Well, there's a lot to
Just
know.
learn that, but there's so much. Can't
Yeah,
know everything.
there really is. Well, Annette, this has been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing all this information. I think everybody's learned so much. I've learned so much. So this is just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So Annette, any parting words or last words of wisdom you'd like to share with us today?
I would say just, if you're thinking about video, you've been thinking about it for, the last 3 months or 6 months or 2 years, just pick up your phone, open the camera and hit record. Think of one thing you want to talk about and just do it because it
Mm.
only gets easier from that.
Mm, that's very wise. Wise words of just like if it's good enough for Nike, it's good enough for us. Just do it.
Yes,
Just
yes.
do it. I love that. I love that. Okay, well, we will say goodbye to everybody and we'll see you back here next month for another LinkedIn for Authors Masterclass. I appreciate everybody who tuned in today. And if you come back and watch the replay, please let us know you're watching the replay. And thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, thanks. Bye, everybody.